Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm Digna.
Welcome to Relationships.
We're a couple having a few. Hi, friends. Today we thought we would talk about March. And by March, I mean a Marzen beer. And by a Marzen beer, I mean a lager from Germany. And the name literally means March. So in deciding about today's episode, we thought, hey, let's have this Marzen from Hell and Blazes, which is actually in Melbourne, Florida, where we live. And to kind of follow up with that, we thought we'd talk about the origin of the beer, just a tidbit. And to follow that on, we thought, hey, we've been to Germany. Let's talk about that one time we went to Germany.
So we are going to be enjoying a Marzen beer, like she mentioned, specifically from Hell and Blazes. Our friend Todd Furbeck, family. Todd Furbeck, he is an award-winning brewer. He actually just won an award for another lager at a Florida beer festival. He took home gold, so that's best lager at the festival. So you definitely need to go to Hell and Blazes in downtown Melbourne and get yourself one of those. In the meantime, he has created a Marzen. If you're not familiar with the style of a Marzen, you may be familiar with Oktoberfest beers. Yeah. They are very, a lot of those are similar to a Marzen. Some might just actually be a Marzen. So they can go from a lighter color to an amber color. So this one, as far as the color, is just a nice amber, dark. Well, I guess darker than amber.
Yeah, you can see through it, but it's a nice, no, not even a golden color. It's quite dark, but you can still see through it.
It's not a pitch black kind of beer, but yeah, it's got a nice, dark, but pretty color to it. So I've not tried it, I've not tasted it. So, PROST.
PROST.
Ja,
that's good.
Das ist gut.
That is not Bush. If you happen to catch our second episode, this is yummy.
This is from different mountains. This is Alps beer.
Good mountains.
Exactly. So
I'm just kidding. Bush isn't from bad mountains. The beer is just bad.
Well, actually, I mean, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. I mean, we lived in St. Louis. I don't know where the St. Louis mountains are. So,
those rolling hill mountains.
Yeah, if you guys are more familiar than we are with St. Louis and you know where those mountains are, please let us know. So we are going to go ahead and talk about the time we were in Germany. So when we were in the Army, we both deployed to Iraq at the same time.
Yay!
Yay, Iraq.
Small victories.
And anytime you deploy, you get a mid-tour, which is just a free ticket back home.
Or wherever you want.
Well, then that's what we decided. So we're thinking, okay, so we're going to go on our vacation, hop on a plane. The plane's going to probably have a layover in Germany. And then from Germany, we're going to have to go all the way back to the States.
Yeah, but that would have been like a 24-hour
I think
trip.
When you get to the States, I think they take, at the time, I think it might have been Indianapolis was the airport that you went to. And then
from there.
Yeah, and then from Indianapolis, you're still playing G.I. Joe until finally they say, okay, you're dismissed. And then you can hop on your plane to go back home. So then, of course, once you get home, everyone wants to see you, which is, great, but
Thank you.
They have to work. So the only time that they can do anything is the weekend or in the evening. So you're tied up the whole time. Everyone wants to see you. And of course I understand. And it's great that everyone wants to see you. But, we were like, it's not very vacation.
That's a lot of bouncing from house to house.
Yeah, it's not very vacation.
Exhausting.
So since it's a free ticket and all that stuff, we're like, hey, why don't we just, instead of going from Iraq to Germany to the States, let's just stop in Germany. And that's what we did. So this would have been June of 2006.
Yeah, right before your birthday. Just before the end.
You're right. Yeah, so mid to late June 2006. And we flew in. It's really weird because when you're in the military, you're on orders. That's how we fly to, flew to Iraq and all that stuff. But
yeah, you end up having to stay in the most uncomfortable, not the most uncomfortable uniform in the history of military, but in your uniform the whole time, boots included and all that. But we get to fly straight into Kuwait and change into regular clothes, which was like so novel because we hadn't worn regular clothes in
Forever.
8 months
Yeah, at that
since
point.
the November before.
Well, and the weird thing about it is, so we got to change into our clothes, and we're the only, other than actual civilians who are not in the military at all, we're the only people in civilian clothes there. And everyone who was flying back to go be with their family, they had to stay in their military uniform to fly back. So
And
already,
possibly for more than one day. Like we got to Germany and we knew we were flying out the next day. Some people got to Germany and, or no, we in Kuwait.
yeah,
We were in
we
Kuwait.
went to Kuwait. Yeah,
So we went to Kuwait. We knew we were flying to Germany the next day. Some people got to Kuwait, and because they were flying home on a military flight, they had to kind of wait until there were enough people, per se, to go on leave. And so they maybe left that day, maybe left the next day. They left whenever there were enough people. But if you were flying from Kuwait on a private flight, like we were, to another country, it was like bing, bang, boom. You're out of there and within a day because you're just purchasing a normal ticket.
yeah. So the funny thing was, we actually had to fly, or we flew on commercial planes. So that's why we couldn't be in our U.S. military uniform. But the thing about it was, we didn't have a passport. So we're flying from Kuwait.
Yeah, we didn't plan that well.
Yeah, but the thing was, it wasn't required. We had our
Right.
military orders and our military ID.
And we didn't plan on going out of country when we left the state. So it's not like,
Yeah.
we
And we'd never had a passport at that point. We had never actually had a passport. So here we are in Germany with a piece of paper with the U.S. military, Department of Defense logos and stuff like that on it, and our military ID. That was our and my
not
Florida driver's
advisable.
license.
Not advisable when you have to stay in hotels, which normally when you stay in hotels overseas you have to provide some sort of identification, which is typically a passport, not your state license. And it's also just not advisable because when you don't properly plan a trip like we didn't do, and really know exactly what you're doing, then you should probably have a passport.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, we had no problems flying, but the way the European Union is and all that stuff, the borders are open, so you can hop on a train and you can go from country to country to country to country.
I mean, not today. They're all on lockdown.
Well,
so.
yeah, everything's on lockdown because of coronavirus now. But so yeah, we could hop on a plane, and we would have to have a passport if we would have taken a plane to go from one country to another, even if it's like a short flight. But on the train, it was okay. So there was no checking of passports and all stuff, which was very strange. So yeah, we were able to go to and through multiple countries in Europe, and we never needed a passport. So that's the story of traveling without a passport. It can be done, because we did it, or at least it could be done 15 years ago or whatever that was, 14 years ago. And but yeah, so we landed in Germany, and we ended up going to Munich. That was the airport we landed in. And as soon as we got off the plane, you gather your bags, and the first thing we did is we
Got a Marzen.
were like, we need a Germany beer. We're in Germany. Let's do it. So that was the first thing. Before we went to the train station, there was like a bar right there. We're like, got it. I had already changed over some, American money to euro, and boom. So we immediately got ourselves a good German beer.
Probably more than one, or one really big one. I'm assuming it was a really big one, which, when you haven't had, again, we hadn't been to the States in 8 months, so 7 months maybe, so we hadn't had anything to drink. So any amount of alcohol was just liable to put us loopy. Loopy enough to not remember to, I don't know, go to the bathroom before we left the airport, before hopping on the train for a couple of hours.
Yeah, so we're getting ready to get on a train for a couple of hours. And of course, why wouldn't you go to the bathroom beforehand? Oh, and also maybe not drink a giant beer before you hop on a train that doesn't have a bathroom.
And be so uncultured that you get on a train that doesn't have a bathroom, to the point that you have to get off of the train in the middle of you don't know where, because it's all in German, and you run to the bathroom, get your stuff done, get yourself out of the bathroom, realize you've now missed your next train, but you're so, again, uncultured that you buy another ticket to get on the next train to make it to your destination, even though you didn't realize that the ticket in your hand previously would take you anywhere you wanted on that line throughout the day. So we learned a lot, but we learned it all like too late.
Kind of the bad way. Well, the thing about it too was here in Florida, we don't really have a mass transit system. So, I wouldn't have been familiar with how trains work and how
I
buses
need my truck and my 95.
Exactly. Yeah. I hop on I-95 and get in the vehicle. The end. That was how you travel. So not having a train was just kind of a new experience.
It was a handicap is what it was.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it was. And the one thing we bought another ticket even though we didn't need it. But one thing that we did need and we didn't go in there prepared for was they have pay toilets.
Yeah, you have to pay to potty in a lot of places. And we didn't know that. And we certainly didn't have the coinage because it was coins, right? It was like it was like a little like a gumball machine, but
like
to pee.
I had just gotten off of a plane and exchanged all my dollars for euro, so I
was gonna say francs.
I didn't have a lot of change. I mostly had bills, so I didn't have the change to do that. So I don't remember how I actually got in there. I don't know if I pulled really hard on the door and it opened, or what happened.
Yeah, I remember you telling me what you had to do, but it definitely wasn't pay. And I ended up getting lucky that there was a lady coming out of the bathroom. Like I was trying to get into another stall and was utterly confused why this stall had a gumball machine change thingy on the door handle and was standing there like a dum-dum. And when she walked out and I was like, yes, please, bathroom. Yes, yes. And she just like held the door open for me to go in. But then I was terrified that I was going to get somehow locked in this place because I hadn't put money in. I don't even know how that works, but I was afraid that I was going to get locked in the stall. So I ended up like holding the door open while I peed just in case. Because the thing is too, I couldn't even crawl underneath because it was floor to ceiling door. You have to pay to use the damn bathroom and they will make sure you pay somehow.
Yeah. So we were not prepared for that, but then we were finally, a few ounces of liquid lighter. And
Few dozen.
And then once again we did pay, and it was just a weird experience. But we did get on the train. We finally made it to the town we were going to, and we took a taxi. And the town that we ended up in was called
Garmisch-Partenkirchen.
That's possibly how you say it.
It's definitely how you say it. I'm a linguist. I know these things.
Was German the language you took?
I'm a linguist.
So I know how to say everything in every language.
Honestly, though, total side note, I have told people that I went to school in the Army to become a linguist. And I think that means different things in the military than it does in real life. In the military, it means I learned one language. That's what I do for that language. The rest of the world sincerely thinks that you speak many languages,
and you learn about languages,
and
where
you
they
learn
come
about
from.
the cultures, and like you're really smart. And I've just stopped telling people that I ever went to school to be a linguist because it makes me sound way smarter than I am. That's like a lot of pressure.
Well, also because you didn't get to use your language, so you've lost a lot of it. So
not
it's like
just that, but I wasn't even a linguist in the Army. I was just a person who learned a language who went and did other things. But anyway, back to Germany.
So we finally got to where we were going, and in Germany, in Garmisch-Partenkirchen, or Garmisch as I will refer to it hitherto.
Partenkirchen.
It used to be two different towns, and I guess they combined, so it's Garmin. Garmin. Why not?
You know what? We could have used damn Garmin and Garmisch-Partenkirchen.
A Garmin would have worked.
We got lost a lot.
Yeah, but they just mixed. I think they hyphenated the names, so it's a really long name, but it's just made up of two different town names. There's a military hotel there, so the U.S. military has it. They do have a large footprint in Germany.
I wonder why.
They have for years. So because of that, they do have it's a very nice resort. And have, little trips you can take here and there. But we were meeting up with some friends who...
Wait. What was the name of the hotel?
Edelweiss.
Edelweiss. That was their whole music. It was so sweet every single time.
It's a really nice hotel. And it's kind of right at the foot of Zugspitze, which is the tallest mountain in Germany. And we went there. But we went, once again, it's not ski season. So it was actually the off season. but I was okay with that because I wasn't trying to ski
Or be cold.
or be cold. But I remember the first thing we did, we got into our rooms, and this is, June. So you're thinking June weather, hot weather. And we get to the room, and it was a little bit warm in there, So I'm looking, and I'm like, where in the world is the air conditioner? I need to get it, a little bit cooler in here. And so I called up to the front desk, and I'm like, oh, we don't have air conditioners. There's a window that kind of tilts. So it wasn't like just a raise or lower like your standard window. It just tilts. So it doesn't like let anybody get in, but it just lets air in. And so
Kind of like shutters.
yeah, kind of like, I guess,
You
a
have
shutter
outside
of
of
some
windows.
sort. And we tilted the windows, and probably within 10 minutes or so, it was like the perfect
Gorgeous.
temperature.
But
in there.
mind you, remember, y'all, we're from Florida. You don't leave your windows tilted open, especially with no screen.
With them skaters.
Yeah, we got skaters the size of helicopters over here, and so that was different. It was almost like, yeah, I mean, it was literally sleeping with the windows open, but it was weird. It felt like creepy crawlies were going to come in, but it was so gorgeous and so cool. And I don't think they have creepy crawlies in Germany. It's a haven.
We stayed there. It's a military friendly. I mean, it's specifically tailored to support the troops. So we go there. They have excursions and things like that. And we didn't even do any of the excursions to begin with, right?
No, because I think we were only there for a few days
Yeah,
before we left.
we were there because the friends we were with, they really wanted to go to Italy. And I mean, I was already sold.
April and Jennifer, that's you.
Yeah, I was already sold on Germany. I was like, we don't have to go to Italy. Like, I'm cool with not going. I'm cool with just hanging here and seeing everything in Germany. But the consensus was, nope, we're doing the Italy thing. So fast forward through Italy, we did go see a couple of things and all that kind of stuff. But
We got lost a lot. Lot.
We did get lost.
Like, maybe we'll talk about that another day for like 3 episodes, because there was a lot of confusion and
and just to throw this out there, the World Cup was being hosted by Germany that year. And
we didn't plan for that either.
Yeah,
we didn't plan for a lot of things.
We didn't plan for
appropriately.
that. So the trains, the mass transit was just with people, covered with paint in jerseys and all this stuff. So same thing when we got to Italy. Italy's not that far away. Everyone's, all they care about was soccer. So they had to be there to see their team play a match. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's World Cup.
I know, but they were like,
Most of the world was in it.
I know, but what I mean is, while we were there near the end, they were like in the end.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Germany versus Italy at the end?
I don't believe so, but yeah, they both went pretty deep into the tournament that year. But it was kind of funny, getting lost in Italy. So our friends who were there with us, they actually got there a few days before us. So because of that, they had to leave to go back because they were also in Iraq. They had to leave to go back before us. So we said, well, let's hurry up and get back to Germany as fast as we possibly can, because we weren't really loving the whole Italy thing. And we went back and had a pretty good time by ourselves. We went and saw the Neuschwanstein Castle.
Which, if you don't know what that is, if you Google like the Cinderella Castle, that's what's going to come up, and that was the inspiration for the Cinderella Castle at Disney.
Yeah, Cinderella's Castle.
It was really cool. There's a really cool story behind it.
Yeah. And yeah, King Ludwig of Bavaria was the owner. It never got fully built because he died. He and his therapist, is that what it was? I forget what the guy was, but it was, so our belief, and I think it's a common belief, they were found drowned in a river. So it's believed that maybe they had a relationship going on, but it was not acceptable then. Exactly. So they had to schwack him.
They were ended.
So as soon as he died, they stopped the
construction.
The construction, yeah. So it's only, part of the way done. You can't even go through a majority of it in the tour. But it's a really cool looking place. I mean, it's gorgeous on the outside. And I mean, it's weird on the inside. Isn't there like a room that looks like a cave? And
oh yeah, there was one. And I don't remember the one that looked like a cave, but I remember one that was like 100% just everything was carved from wood. Not one piece of wood, but like the entire bed, and it was very elaborately carved wood,
Oh
and
my
the
gosh, I
walls
forgot
were
about that.
wooden, and there were carvings in the wood. It was impressive and a little bit insane.
It was impressive, but it was definitely way too much. Like, I understand, like, it's good to be the king, but good God, man, like, just get me a regular old bed. All I'm gonna do is sleep in it. My eyes are closed a majority of the time that I'm in it, So
That was a fun trip, though. We ended up doing the tour through the castle. We went and took a cool picture, like on this, I don't know, little suspension bridge, not too far from it. Didn't we hike all the way up to the castle
yeah,
itself?
we hiked. You go up a hill. You can take a trolley or whatever, or not a trolley, but like
Yeah, but
a
we're in
horse
the
and
army, so
buggy.
we walked.
Yeah, we walked up.
Dummies.
Walking down was easier. Gravity was on our side.
Yeah, but after we went onto the bridge to take the picture, which I'm looking at the picture right now, it's very cool. We ended up kind of going off the other side of the bridge and walking down into the woods and stuff like that. We drank out of the river, and the water was so cold and clear. And we met back up on the trail and hiked back down. It was it was awesome. It was a really great day. And we also went to Eagle's Nest.
Yep, the
Through
Eagle's Nest.
that hotel. We went through a little tour.
It was extremely
And what is Eagle's Nest?
well. That's kind of Hitler's last stand. But do they call it Hitler's tea house? Was that a name they used, or is that just something that popped up in my head now?
I don't know.
I feel like they call it.
It was Hitler's something. I don't know if it was his tea house or not.
Hitler's tea house, not to be confused with Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Just as inappropriate though.
Yes, but it was apparently you can see multiple. I almost said states. Yeah, multiple countries. They're like, if you look, they have like these little placards, and they're like, if you look this way, you'll see into Switzerland. If you look this way, you'll see into Austria, and if you look this way, you see it. There was a cloud sitting on top of us.
Damn thing.
Man, we ain't found shit.
It was 100% foggy that day, and yeah, we couldn't see anything. And there's a really funny story that's super TMI about a bellyache and the side of a mountain and having to use a map for not a map, but a different kind of paper that, I'll give you a hint. It's the paper you can't find in the stores right now.
There's a shortage of maps right now.
We'll call them maps. Yeah, it was terrible. It was a cool place to see.
Someone had to find directions off the side of the mountain.
I got lost. But yeah, it was interesting, but I had a severe bellyache that Joe swears is from sushi that we had the day or two before, but who knows? Maybe I
Good old Bavarian sushi.
Maybe I got beaver fever from drinking the cool, beautiful, crystal clear water near the Neuschwanstein Castle. Who knows? Anyway, I pooped on the side of a mountain, but no big deal. And yeah, it was
Take that, Hitler. Take that, Shitler.
It was a good trip. I loved it. That day, not my favorite, but we didn't do any other specific tours, right? We basically just after that kind of chilled and ended up accidentally locking ourselves out of our bank account because again, we didn't plan this and we were children and we didn't call our bank to let them know that we were traveling. So thankfully they didn't lock our accounts until the very last day we were in Germany. And then we ended up having no money to eat that day until we got back to Kuwait, basically. So that was fun. Guys, always plan your trips in advance. Don't just wing it, especially not 14 years ago when the interwebs wasn't as readily available. You just, it's better to plan.
And call your bank to let them know you're traveling internationally if you're doing so.
Or don't. It's a funny story. We laughed, 10 years later.
We laugh now. So we're going to do, once again, my favorite time, or is it my favorite? I don't know. Just the time that I like to do. So here's our pod deck question of the day. We're going to do 2 questions because this one's going to be a quick one and I don't care that much for it. But what was your first screen name?
My first screen name. I remember my first email address.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking.
So my first email address is based on, I'm sure everybody remembers when WWJD was a big thing. What would Jesus do? At the time, I guess, that I was able to sign up for my first email address, we were going to church. And so that is what inspired me. So obviously WWJD was taken. So I picked WDJD, and I think that stood for what did Jesus do? And then I had to make it longer, so I added like for you and me. It was really long. What did Jesus do for you and me at AOL.com?
I thought it was still what would Jesus do or what I don't know.
I don't know.
But it was the number 4, right?
Yes, it was really long.
It was like for me and you. Like it had the word menu at the end. Me and you.
Well, now that you say it that way, I'm sure my email address was very confusing
What would
for
Jesus
some people.
do for menu? For me and you. I believe that's what it was. Like I don't remember if it was what would Jesus do or what did Jesus do. And mine was it Joe Mama?
I think so.
Yeah, so...
yeah, guys, we're that old. We remember each other's first email addresses.
Yeah, so, well, and the thing was, it was an AOL account, but it was her AOL account. It was her family's AOL, like, when
God,
you
you just
created
mooched
screen names.
everything.
Yeah, so mine was Joe Mama 815.
Because you had to be on an account. You couldn't just open an email account or whatever, because you had to have the CD that had, like, the, minutes or something like that on it, or allowable data or something. I don't know. It was kids. It was madness.
I mean, it was funny that CDs, they started off on floppies, so.
For the internet?
Yeah, the AOL.
Oh, that's true.
It started off. And then
I don't remember if it was like an allowable amount of data or what, but you basically were like, I'm signing up for this plan. Please send me my floppy disk. And then they send you a floppy disk, and I don't even know how the software behind it works because whatever. But yeah, then you had to like be under this account to have your own email address. Yeah. And so he mooched off of my family and stole our AOL.
Well, at that time I was eating a lot of my suppers with your family, so I was mooching. I was actually mooching food from them almost daily. All right, so we're gonna do one more because I just want to. So we're gonna go past
damn it.
Your first screen name and who are your heroes in real life?
I don't have an answer for that. I've never considered that question.
I was gonna say, let's go ahead and shift from pooping off the side of a mountain to
Hey, maybe that makes me a hero to someone, Joseph. Have you ever thought about that?
I mean, you know
I was
what?
very brave that day.
She practically...
I could have fallen off of the side of the mountain while pooping. How tragic would that have been? Today in Garmisch Partenkirchen, woman falls off the side of a mountain pooping.
10 years later, her husband still has an embarrassed look on his face.
He hasn't been seen. He's a hermit.
I will say my heroes in real life, I would probably say my grandparents. Not necessarily every single thing they do. Because I don't think every hero you have to like everything they do. But the main thing, my hero, or my inspiration, if you will, is my grandfather retired at 52. And I would really like to hit or possibly beat that number. So if I could do that, that to me, that seems like a heroic feat. It's like an epic thing that seems unattainable. So if I could do that, then I feel like I could be somebody's hero.
I could be your hero, baby.
Let me be your hero.
You know what? I'm going to think about this one and stew on it for about 45 seconds. See if I can think of somebody. And if and when I do, I'll post the answer when we post this episode.
And let us know who your heroes or hero is. Heroes are or hero is.
It's okay if it's me. It's fine.
Don't let it be me because, I'm a klutz.
He hasn't retired yet, so he hasn't met his goal.
But you know what? Talk to me in 15 years or so. If I'm retired, then I can be your hero. All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
This has been a Getting to Know Brews presentation. Music provided by purpleplanet.com. That's purple-planet.com.